Thanks to Ubisoft for providing access to Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown is one of those games that I always wanted to play and I always wanted to cover it. I remember when it was first revealed and I felt like, well, that's a side-scroller Metroidvania. We've seen these before and I didn't really give it that much attention. And then it released and outlets just started giving it 9s and 10s, and quietly I was like, maybe I should cover this game. And already way back in March, I had actually planned to eventually get around to playing it. But I'm in the fortunate situation that Ubisoft has provided me with a copy of the game so that I could try it and tell you guys about it because it just released on Steam. For many people, this is a big deal, as a lot of players refuse to install several launchers. And then there's the whole Steam Deck thing as well. Before we dive further into this video, I just want to tell you that yes, Ubisoft did provide me with a free key, but everything I'm going to say in this video is 100% my own opinion. Ubisoft has not seen this video, they have no say in what I'm going to say about the game. It's actually heavily discounted right now. You can get the standard version for less than 30 euros, which it's kind of crazy considering the amount of game time and quality you're getting here. Let's talk about the game a little bit. It starts off quite strong and it has a very action-heavy start set piece, and immediately I was drawn to the art style. I think the art style is quite cool and quite unique, but it's quite timeless. So that means if you're playing this game in 5 or 10 years, it still looks good. I also really appreciate the controls. They're snappy, easy to grasp. I would say that the control style is quite familiar. It's a mix between the snappiness and the reactiveness of something like a Super Meat Boy, whereas the combat, I would resemble that to something like Dead Cells or even a Hades, and for my OGs out there, or even something like Shank that's from way back in the Xbox 360 era. Whenever I have a combat encounter, I never feel cheated and I never feel like a death is cheap. I always see immediately where the mistake happened and I know that I can fix it. So it's never a fault of the game, it's really a question of planning and skill. With the game being a Metroidvania style action platformer, it's really important that you feel like exploration is rewarded, and I think they balance this quite well. As soon as you leave the beaten path, you always find like a cool set piece or a new area that's open and different. At the very least, you'll find something useful like resources or an upgrade. The progression of the game overall is quite well done, and while playing the game, I never felt like I was either progressing too fast or too slow. I always felt like the pace was quite well done. So either I met a new difficult challenge where I learned to be better at the game, or I got a cool new skill or a new upgrade or a new unlock for me to test. So the game definitely has a great sense of tempo where you're always being challenged, but it never feels unfair. And by that I have to say, don't let the art style fool you. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown will definitely challenge you if you want it to. Of course, you can set the difficulty. You can also adjust how much you want the game to hold your hand. Do you want to discover things on your own? Or do you want the game to basically point you in the right direction? And I think this is really a strength of the game. Not only is your character progressing and becoming stronger, but you yourself are also learning to play the game better, which is just a sign of great game design. Something I also appreciate is the mixture between combat and puzzling and platforming, where you never feel like you're doing one of those things too much. There's always a cool boss fight, followed by a set piece with traps and platforming, followed by a puzzle you have to figure out. So with that, you're just naturally progressing and you don't even notice it. It's one of those games where you can really lose time and suddenly 3 hours have passed. Aside from that, the game also has great side content. With the release of the Steam version, they recently upgraded the game to include new modes such as Boss Rush. And all the side quests and challenges and extra activities are fairly cool, I have to say. They always feel like worth doing, but if you choose so, you can definitely skip it. If you beeline the game, you should expect to spend around 15 to 20 hours. Given that the game is currently a little bit less than $25 or euros in the store, that means you're paying like €1 per hour of entertainment. If you look at your cinema prices, that's a hell of a deal. Seeing as the game is releasing on Steam, I of course tested it on Steamdeck, and I even tested it by installing it the quote-unquote incorrect way, and by that I mean I didn't install it natively through using the Steam version. I installed it through the back door using the Ubisoft launcher. The game was almost sitting at a perfect 60 frames per second at 720p with normal graphics settings. I think that's quite impressive, and I feel like going forward this will be a Steam Deck game for me. Like, this is definitely a game I want to take with me, progress a little bit, shut down the Steam Deck and go do something else and come back to it. The camera is a bit zoomed out, so that can be a bit difficult to see the entire level, but I feel confident in saying that you can probably get used to it. To be honest, I'm a bit embarrassed. I kind of slept on this game because it looked very familiar, but it's definitely something special, and I really highly recommend Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. If you're considering buying the game after me talking about it, it's heavily discounted on Steam, and that sale will be going on till the 22nd of August. Another game I played recently from Ubisoft was Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, and that surprised me a lot as well. I made a video about that, you can see that here, and for more videos like this, click my logo to subscribe. See you in the next one.